painted, redone. So the story is that he went to the river towns and took all the type, which he had designed specifically for this room, and threw it in the river. So nobody could ever do a copy of it or ever fulfill it. This is a $10,000 to $15,000 retail price. I guess I'll have to tell my friend. There was a defect. There was something wrong with it. You could slash the price by 90%.
Alexander's got 8. Because once he does, he makes you pay. Here's Alexander.
You are lucky. Come on, Bill.
The defense got real lucky. Alexander. It's going. Beal, no good.
Bill, you coming out the game.
Trail by 3.
This painting hung on the wall of my grandparents' house. My mother had it on the wall, and she gave it to me a few years ago.
This is a painting by Joseph Fleck, who's an interesting guy. He started his dating life in Montana.
How is that a foul, boy?
He just went to Kansas City. And in 1922, he was working through his Phoenix as a stained glass designer. And from there, he had this sort of life-changing moment. He saw a show at the Taos Society of Artists in 1924. And he moved to Taos and stayed there pretty much for the rest of his life, painting pictures similar to this. The record prize of this artist was actually set this year. Despite the economic woes, he's still doing quite well. And I think even in the current market, this painting is worth $15,000 to $25,000 at auction right now.
Wow. Okay, that's wonderful.
I know it's a piece of Majolica. It was something that my husband purchased because I liked Majolica, but not necessarily this type. He also liked clocks. I thought he said at one time that it was a French clock, but I don't think it is. He had many types of collections over the years.
When you say you're a Majolica collector, but not this kind of Majolica, what is it about this that doesn't speak to you?
That guy.
He's eyeing you at the
I
moment.
know he is. I love the colors. The colors are beautiful.
That's always what grabs Majolica collectors. Interestingly enough, what you don't like about this object is exactly what would make this object appealing to a collector. This is an example of what's referred to as policy wear. And the point of policy wear is all the qualities that are sometimes applied to it. In France, in particular, in Paris, and on tour in the 19th century, there were ceramics that were working in the style of a man acting in the 16th century called Milan policy, and applying normally oval platters, circular platters with fish and crustaceans and amphibians and shells and all kinds of creepy crawlies and leaves. This particular piece has all of that going for it. It's modeled as a grotto, very popular. All of this is meant to be dripping water. It's very, very rare to have something like this that is a ceramic clock case. Your husband was right. The clock itself is French, but interestingly enough, the clock retailed in America. Canfield Brothers & Co. was kind of Baltimore's answer to a company or mailing bags available. There were jewelry stores that a ceramics firm started by Achilles' father, Victor. In 1856, Victor himself died around 1870, and the son took over and continued manufacturing under the name of Maison Barbizet. Campfield went out of business in 1881. So this piece is dated between, say, 1875 and 1881. Now, the fact that it is rare does not necessarily make it more valuable, because policy-wear collectors tend to prefer to focus on the flat, large, oval products than they do three-dimensional pieces. This piece is in pretty good condition. There's a few little chips, and up here on the top would have originally been a small marker. Do you have any idea what your husband will have paid for it, and how many years ago did he find it?
About 15 to 20 years ago, and I have absolutely no idea what he paid for it.
This piece with auction, I would say conservatively it would bring $4,000 to $6,000. Retail, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody sold it in a shop for as much as 10.
I guess I'll have to learn to like that guy.
I think that he obviously likes you. He hasn't stopped looking at you the whole time.
I can see his teeth. When we found out
That'd be
we
cute,
went to the
Corey.
safety deposit box to get the items we had planned to bring,
Shoot 'em.
and the scroll was rolled up in the box. And then I remembered that my mother-in-law
Shoot 'em up.
had bought it as an investment. When she divided up the family heirlooms, my husband ended up with this piece. I have no idea when she bought it. I'm guessing it was somewhere in the 70s. There was a little note that said it was kind of a Chinese honor scroll.
George got his first points in the game.
Yeah.
A nice use of strength by Dort. Runs into the inside contact, pushes right through it.
25 feet long.
Come on, boy.
No good.
The color and the size is specific to this particular type of scroll. And it's a type of scroll that we would call Imperial Proclamation.
And here's Gildas
So it was
Alexander.
something that the Emperor did to
Williams,
proclaim
long
either
range.
generally you find everything
He's missed that one. 1 in the first one.
information about the law. That's one type of scroll that you get. The other is when there was
Here's
very
Allen.
particular honor.
Oh, Allen.
We've got a whistle. He was fouling with a purpose. And at that spot, in that situation, it's got to be a transition foul.
And it's this fantastic
Williams has got the ball here. Oklahoma City. It's a 3-point game.
incorporating dragons and
Another miss by Oklahoma City.
Phoenix and all types of access. That's why this is discolored. As you go on, you see that there are also these inscriptions in various types of script. They incorporated Manchu script, Mongolian, and other scripts. So everyone would know within the Chinese Empire. And if we look at this in its entirety, you would also see imperial seals to indicate that this was an official document, and there would be calligraphy on the other that would further explain the purpose of this.
Don't play with me.
Majority of the ones that were across late in the 18th century through various periods in the 19th century. This one actually has a specific date to it, which is early in the first year of the Zhou Qing, the emperor's reign, which was in 1795-96. And then the purpose of this proclamation honoring a particular individual and the achievements of that individual. The value partially depends on who the person was that received the award that was recognized by the emperor or the occasion that was being recognized. I would say a conservative figure would be $6,000 to $8,000 at auction. If it's sold for
How would you go and do this?
My grandmother gave these to me about 15 years ago, and she said that they came from either her parents or my grandfather's parents, and she believes they got them during some of their travels to Europe. My grandmother was 100 when she died a couple of years ago, and I'm assuming that my great-grandparents
probably traveled here in the 1800s.
They've been working for shots.
That would make sense. They would have been fairly expensive then to buy as a sort of souvenir. The kind of thing you can really only find in Europe then. The technique we call intarsia. And intarsia is a word really meaning inserting, and what's happened here is that the craftsman has taken
Contact while he was going up.
That's what you.
into a ground. There is a difference between this technique and a more familiar technique that we call marquetry or marquetry. Marquetry is a slightly more sophisticated technique where instead of inlaying bits of wood into the ground, you actually make a kind of jigsaw puzzle, a sheet of wood on different materials, and then you stick that to a frame. That doesn't really start until the 17th century, and we don't see it.
Get that shit out of here, dude.
And intarsia is actually a much more modern technique because essentially in this kind of form, it starts in the early Middle Ages. Southern Europe, Italy, kind of migrates northward. The Germans got very good at it as early as the 15th, 16th century. Well, these were not made that early. They were probably made, I suspect, in the 1890s, possibly the 1880s. So it's possible that they were new when your ancestors were traveling. To me, the scenes, and they are, by the way, a definite pair, reflect the very provincial alpine way of life in Europe. This chalet, this kind of costume. There's some great features on this particular one. The woman herself is beautifully conceived. I like this little feature, which was common throughout the 19th century and into the early 20th century. In rustic homes like this, it's a linnet cage.
What is a linnet?
A linnet is a kind of songbird that could be kept as a pet, essentially. It's just to entertain you by singing beautifully in the morning. But everything's designed to look appealing from a kind of bucolic, ideal, rustic point of view. And they are in very good condition. To find another pair of this scale and age would be quite difficult. If they came up at auction today, the low estimate would certainly be $3,000, and the high estimate perhaps $5,000.
Okay.
Back to Williams. She shoots. They get it back. Holmgren.
How is that good?
Knocks down the triple. Gilgis Alexander's got 7 now in this quarter. It's just to Durant. Durant on the double. It goes again. It's 7 round. Gilgis Alexander. His arrow's been trending up as of late. He's been magnificent tonight. Here's Durant. Bring it up to the TV. They've realized by just 10. Shoots from the baseline. Here's what's hard to shot.
That's crazy.
There are so many sights to see in the Twin Cities area. One place stood out as not your typical roadshow attraction: the Wabasha Street Caves. These man-made caves were mined for silica starting in the 1840s, and as the property changed hands, the caves took on new purposes. There was even a dance club being a disco area. Well, Simeon, I'm glad we have flashlights for this part of the cave. This is more what I was thinking. Sure. And we've got vintage flashlights at that. Tell me about these.
Well, we have here examples of the redhead.
I do.
A flashlight produced by the North Light Company in the 1930s. We've got different styles here.
as you can see, it's a red glass top.
I was born ready. Ready on fish and spaghetti.
Has a both side flare, the right side flare, as well as a flashlight. It has a sleep apparatus right here, you can look right on the street. And these are very, very collectible, particularly by automobilia and car collectors. So what would be the value of a flashlight like one of these original redheads? Today, one of these ranging between $600 and $700.
Come on, bull. Good shit.
Now,
Too easy.
the very first tubular flashlight. We're talking about 1898, 1899 here by Eveready. And as you can see, it's in immaculate condition. The Eveready #1. Absolutely. What is it made out of? It's made out of a cardboard called vulcanite and just metal pens. And if you look right in the middle, you can see the patent date.
Gilgeous Alexander's got 4 points now in the quarter.
How you turn it on.
Gilgeous Alexander is a fighter. Someone that challenges the defense and loses his way through contact.
And boy, to find one in this condition is pretty amazing. Do we know how many were made?
You're done.
That's what happens when you don't take care of the ball. Hey, that makes a turnover
$6,000.
even more.
It's amazing. And,
No.
fun. I'm going to thank you for shedding light on this subject. It's been fun. When I said that, I was until you said that, yeah.
You have to love it.
As far as I understand, it's a tile art piece. My father received it from his aunt, and he had it hanging on his wall for many years, and that was going to sell his home. And the realtors that he was working with came through his home to look it over and said, "I'll give you $50 for that piece." My dad said, "I'm not interested." So he walked me through the home a little more. He came back. He said, "I'll give you $200 for that." He said, "No, I'm not interested in selling it." So he determined it had some value.
What you have is a beautiful Brookwood scenic vellum plaque. Brookwood is one of the biggest pottery companies in this country. They were based in Cincinnati, Ohio. They would be in business starting in about 1880 and for a very long time as a large company employing lots of people. So they produced many pieces. They had a roster of first-rate decorators, and they did many beautiful vases. They also made production tiles, they made gardenwares, and they made plaques. Now the plaques that were made at Brookwood are different from other types of tiles because they were decorated in the same way that some of their vases would be decorated. Now Brookwood would do many different glaze lines. This one is scenic vellum, so they had vases that were scenic vellum vases. Now, I was showing this to my colleague, and he said, "Did you take this out of the frame?" I said, "I did not." He said, "It could possibly be a
Easy.
vellum plaque." This is the original frame that it came in. So this is what we have on the back, which tells you that it is the original frame. This was a little bit loose. We have the Brookwood paper label on the back. And just beneath that, we have the original paper label that says the title of the piece and the artist, one of their very best, known as Sally Coyne. This piece here dates to 1916. This is the RP mark. There's one flame per date after 1886. And then underneath that, we have a Roman numeral
Get that shit out of here, dude.
16. So this is 1916. The V beneath that signifies vellum. That is the name of the line. It is not green vellum. It is vellum. There are two prices. Perhaps the $1.90 refers to the price of the frame. And the $20 may have been the price of the actual plaque when it was sold. I will pop this out to show you that on somebody's wall it accumulated some cooking grease or smoke or whatever it was, and so this is not its true color. It can be soaked in hot water with a little bit of dishwashing soap.
Let's go. You're done.
Gently scrubbed with a little plastic scrubby. Alright, and then put back in the ribbon. All that being said, this is an absolutely lovely tile, and at auction, one would expect
there was an inscription in the watch. What does it say?
It says Elizabeth First Providence.
And what do you know about the watch?
I really don't know a whole lot. I know it belonged to my grandmother, and when I was little, it was also my parents' safety deposit box, and that's about all I know about it. No, not at all.
Watch was made in Switzerland by the preeminent watchmaker Patek Philippe in Geneva. It's the finest brand of completely handmade watches in the world. This watch is sort of a tour de force of anything that a woman could have wanted to wear around 1900 for a dress pendant watch. First off, the watch is 18 karat gold. The watch is surrounded by diamonds. There's beautiful blue enameling, probably done in France. There's a diamond-encrusted fleur-de-lis. The veil is completely encrusted in diamonds on both sides. The chain will come off, and the fleur-de-lis band can go on. The chain is 18 karat gold. The chain has natural pearls, blue enamel, and
That was a
diamonds.
foul.
It's absolutely fabulous. Is all rose cut and line cut diamonds, blue enamel, 18 karat gold. It all matches. The face of the watch is also a blue enamel with the fabulous words Patek Philippe Company. Also encrusted with diamonds all the way around. So you have diamonds on both sides, here, there, all through there, and into there. The market today on Patek Philippe is very, very strong. Each couple of years, things come in and out of favor, but the brand Patek really never goes out. Today, in a gallery, a watch like this, with its matching parts, would easily be priced at retail in the $15,000 to $20,000 range. It's an unbelievable pendant. You're going to have to wear it.
I will.
Patek Philippe ladies watch. That's
I have owned it since the mid-1970s, and I bought it because I went to the mountains in 1968 and became very enamored of the mountains, and it appealed to me.
Where were the mountains?
In Montana, Glacier Park, Yellowstone Park, and the mountains in between.
And how did you acquire it?
I bought it at an estate sale in Medina, and it was priced at $300. And the second day, I put in a bid of $175, and I was
Floating.
fortunate to get it.
I'm floating. How about you?
Thomas Hill, who is an American artist, and he must have painted it in the late 1990s, I would think, something like
How
that.
about you?
1890s, excuse me, because he died in 1908.
That's right, absolutely. And of course, he has associated with painting in the West.
I want to be like his daddy.
One of the great 19th century American landscapers. Yes, like Bierstadt as well.
Yes, Bierstadt I read, and Thomas Moran I know.
Indeed, absolutely. But although he's considered a great American artist, he was actually born in England. And he came over.
You've been done.
He was about 15 and came with his family at that point.
You roasted.
To begin with. But he divided his time between the East, New Hampshire, but probably best known as the artist of the Yosemite. The time that he spent there. Sadly, he spent a lot of time in Yosemite because he had a very unhappy marriage. And I think to get himself out of that situation, he spent a lot of time painting. In fact, I believe he did something like 5,000 paintings of Yosemite. But we're not quite sure where this is. Well, do you have any ideas?
No.
This painting?
No.
I'm not entirely clear.
Someplace in the Sierras.
Maybe in the Sierras, absolutely. And it's a very attractive work. It's an interesting one. It's sketchy in a way. It's somewhere, there's that line between sketchy and impressionistic. I think
It's too easy. Against you. Called out the old switcheroo. You're done.
I would feel comfortable putting an estimate of $10,000 to $15,000. That's a nice surprise.
It is a nice surprise.
If this were one of his more
You're done.
grandiose
been done.
marriage and scenes, very dramatic. Those paintings have been well into 6 figures. Those tend to be, as I say, much more dramatic scenes in this one, which is
White boy cross here. White boy cross here.
And taking a quick look here, the hustle stat.
White boy cross here.
And they've also been so active defensively, getting defenses, forcing turnovers, and scoring.
Easy against you. You have the whole team down there, you loser. You big loser. Thank you.
his name was John Burke. He was a radio gunner, they call him, in World War II on a P-17.
It's a great jacket. It's full of Type A2, which is one of the more popular jackets that was worn by pilots and crew members. And what they like to do to them is decorate them and personalize them. It really became a piece of folk art. What's great about this one, it's got John's name, we call him Johnny.
Bye-bye.
And then his wife named Mary right next to it. And this is Century
Bye-bye.
Bomber for the 100th Bomb Group. So it's just wonderful. At the front is nicely emblazoned, well painted. And then when you look at the back, it's even better. There's your B-17. Easy going. All the different bombing missions he's on, and the letters in those different bombs would indicate Munich and Berlin. You know, and the issue with these kind of jackets is the market has slipped a little bit, except for the ones that are really well documented and that have kind of great look front and